Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. There's a group I'm in called Fans of the Terminator franchise. And there was a post that I liked that asked, I know everyone hasn't or didn't enjoy Terminator Dark Fate, so I want to ask a question to those people. How would you have done it different? And I realized if I was to tell or type out the whole thing, oh my god, it would take years and nobody would want to read a comment of explaining how it all happens. So I figured I'll do a video to basically give the whole gist of it. And here's how I would do it. First off, yes, there would be a diverse cast, but there would be no focusing on the fact that people have different skin colors. I would not push any agenda in this movie other than telling the story. I would not care about any woke points, as other people call it. I would not care about any of that. There would not be real-world politics like Dark Fate did. There would not be identity politics like Dark Fate did. There would not be any of that crap. It would be strictly to tell the story, and that's it. So now, with that out of the way, here's what the story would be. Skynet survived. It survived. It didn't get destroyed as everybody thought it was in Terminator 2. Because think about it, only in the novel does it say that they went back to destroy the arm that was left by, or that was taken off of Uncle Bob. So we're going strictly by movie canon. Also, thinking on it from a logical point of view, do you really think, for one instance, that Skynet would, or that Cyberdyne, not Skynet, Cyberdyne, they would only have one building? That doesn't make sense. So obviously, yes, there's going to be other buildings of the Cyberdyne Systems Corporation. And because there are other buildings, Skynet's production would be compartmentalized. Several people working on it. But the man most directly responsible was still Miles Dyson. But there were other people working on it. So those other people who were not in the building when it exploded would have been able to put the pieces together, sure. Now, these people survived, and they obviously are working on it, thinking that Miles Dyson was a hero and that they should continue his work. Well, they did. They had very little to go on, but they remembered enough of it to continue the work. Because, think about it, folks, you would have to, or if Terminator 2 was truly successful, they would have had to kill everyone who was associated with the project of Skynet. And they didn't. So, logic standing, the work could still be followed. The backups would be off-site as well. There would be backups besides at Cyberdyne and at Dyson's home. There would be other backups. Even if it's just early stage backups. So Judgment Day is postponed to like 2000, say. And a third Terminator, while Judgment Day is looming, is sent back. Not to battle another Terminator, but to ensure the survival of John Connor and Sarah Connor. Now, this Terminator was not sent to hunt or to find them directly yet. It was sent back to do a preparation. It was sent back in 1998 to prepare for the inevitable outcome. Because because the future realized it was inevitable. So it's sort of like a T3 scenario, but different. The Terminator would be prepping an area or a shelter or whatever to survive Judgment Day. And by doing so, it would then go after Sarah Connor and John Connor, and it would explain to them, I have already prepared a shelter for your survival. You have to come with me now, There's no time, or I will explain en route why I exist, basically. And so it explains that there was a chance that Judgment Day did follow. And Judgment Day, for the most part, does follow. A little bit of changes here and there, because it's later. But for the most part, the same future war still happens. Now, after Judgment Day occurs, it will show that it would show Skynet's awakening. It would show Skynet became self-aware the next, or 2 days later, from 27 to 20, or August 27th to 29th. So 2 days, but not in 97. It would be a different date, obviously, but it would take 2 days for Skynet to become self-aware. I would keep to that, 2 days. August 27th, 1997 was when Skynet was activated. August 29th was when it became self-aware and Judgment Day occurred. So I would do the whole 2-day self-awareness. And they would be, or Sarah and John would survive. They would be put in the shelter where they could survive on food and whatnot. The Terminator had set it up so they could survive the nuclear apocalypse with some sort of modicum of comfort. It would skip ahead to the future where Sarah is still fighting. She's part of the resistance. She is a fighter. You know that she would want to continue. Anyway, they're fighting the war, and they realize that there are camps. And these camps, like Kyle Reese said, there were camps where the machines were rounding up people to build for the cyborgs, to generate living tissue for cyborgs. And they would attack these camps to liberate the people, to add them to the resistance and whatnot. And here's where I would have a little bit of difference. It's either Sarah Connor would die either here or in the next one of its story arc. She could either die here, where she basically tells John to continue and finish it all. But she could possibly die here, but I would actually have her die in the next movie. Sarah Connor would die. Anyway, they're liberating these camps, different areas, and in one of these camps, a kid known as Kyle Reese would be found. And John Connor would hear of it from somebody. They said they found this kid, and he's like, "What's your name, kid?" And it'd be Kyle Reese. He would say his name's Kyle Reese, and John Connor and Sarah Connor, who had now survived, would show that a little bit of shock on their face. Oh my God, we actually found him. They wouldn't tell Kyle, of course, why he is important. They would keep him in the dark. So there is a little bit of a Genesis kind of vibe. But here's where, that would be the end of the third movie. Now here's where the second movie comes in. It's within the last month of 2029, a month before they go into Skynet to send Kyle back and the Terminators. They are assaulting a compound, and they find out that there are two key targets that they need to find: the time displacement area, or facility, and Skynet Central Core. And they have Sarah leading the assault on the facility because she knows that these are the most important things that they need to find, so she's assaulting or using it. John Connor's there too, and Kyle. But while Kyle is sent off on a smaller errand of some sort, a Terminator would eventually shoot Sarah Connor dead. But they scrap that Terminator, but as she's dying, she tells her son, "Finish it. Make sure we survive and kill Skynet." He knows what she means, because he knows that they are going to find it, the displacement equipment. Now, They go and they find the displacement equipment and they plan their assault. And when they finally plan their assault and they are assaulting, 2 Terminators are being prepped for time travel. One Terminator is the T-800 that goes back to 1984, and they show a thing in the facility that says activate prototype 1000. And you would know immediately that a T-1000 is still in prototype phase, and it would be sent back, and it would also be sent back. Now the T-101 is in cold storage, like they do in the beginning of Genesis, and they would show it being walking up to the displacement equipment and being sent back. They would also, and that would be like 15 minutes before they get into the facility. They would also show the T-1000 being loaded into a shell of liquid or of living tissue. It could either be just a fleshy sac or a fleshy mass, or it could be a human-shaped one that is shaped like Robert Patrick, you know? It would be living tissue because nothing dead can go. I would be paying attention to the rules of time travel. Not like Terminator Dark Fate did, you know? And I would they would get in there just as something went back. And it would be the T-1000 that just got sent back. So they would check, they would finally seize the time displacement equipment. They would find out that 2 Terminators were sent back in time to destroy John Connor, one in 1984 and one in 1995. John Connor would remember that one was sent back, so he would remember the date around the time that he was sent, or that Uncle Bob was sent back. They would say, we need 2 Terminators. And they would have Kyle Reese volunteer and whatnot. He would give him and they would then have Kyle first sent back. They would then send back Uncle Bob, and then they would send back the 3rd Terminator to 1998, to prepare for Judgment Day to ensure the survival of John and Sarah. And then after they all leave, Skynet would still be would still be barely active, but they got their hands on a nuke and they would send it straight to Skynet's central core and it would be destroyed. And everything would then shut down. Basically, they won, but they also ensured that they would be protected in the past. And that's how the other movie would end. That's how I would do the Terminator continuation, the Terminator sequel, or sequels. In this case, it would be 4 movies. It would be 2 sequels. Anyway, folks, that is the video. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. How would you do a Terminator sequel? How would you continue from Terminator 2? Anyway, folks, this has been Orange Chat Reviews, and I'll catch you all on the next one.